good evening and welcome to Nashville. I'm Alan Jackson. You know, I meet people in all stages of life as pastor of World Outreach Church, and many of the strongest people I've met are those who've suffered a loss, including those who've had to fight through challenges that came up suddenly, whether they were ready or not. Well, tonight we have a guest who's not just surviving, but thriving through her sudden loss. It's a loss that happened just as she was raising two young children while her husband was fighting abroad to protect our country. He wasn't just any man in combat. He was the sharpshooter who beat all others. The Navy SEALs called him the legend. The Iraqis, they called him the Devil of Ramadi. And after he was cruelly murdered by a man he was trying to help, his best-selling memoir was made into a movie, American Sniper, the most lethal sniper in U.S. military history. His name, Chris Kyle. Well, with that, I want to welcome our guest tonight. It's his wife, Taya Kyle. It's nice to have you here in Nashville.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the green hills of Tennessee.
It's so beautiful. I love
This time
Nashville.
of year, we're green.
Yeah.
Well, your children, Colton and McKenna, are young adults now.
Yes.
And you've been very open about telling those who speak with you that you leaned on your faith to not just take care of them, but to take care of yourself as well. So how's your family doing these days?
Truly, I don't say this as a cliche, but by the grace of God, we are doing really well. And it's taken a lot longer, I think, than maybe we would have thought with grief. I mean, it's been a while. Chris was killed in 2013. And while we found a way to thrive along the way, it's not this clean arc, right? So we've had the ups and downs in the middle and the things that we've had to do to fight back. And I feel like we're really at a place where it's coming together. We know how to navigate the setbacks when they happen, and they're fewer and farther between.
Well, you don't have a roadmap for negotiating that kind of pain and disappointment.
No.
That's a real-time adjustment every day.
It is. And, you know, one of the things I feel like there was a massive, I don't know if I could say it was spiritual warfare, but it felt very much like that for our family because it was kicked off. I mean, Chris and I had our own battles, you know, marriage and war and service and PTSD and all of the things that happen. And then he's brutally murdered with a friend of ours. And then there were these things that were happening before he was killed. There was a lawsuit against him, continued against him after he died. There were some business issues. Then there were family issues and other things, people that came in to help. We didn't see ourselves as target. We're just everyday people. So it never occurred to me that people who would come in under the guise of helping were actually there to take and to steal and to rob. And so Colton and McKenna, my kids, their foundational years were built of murder was their first exposure to real evil. And then the next decade, it was like hit after hit of things that they didn't see coming. And I didn't see coming, right? And it would be great if I had the roadmap, but I didn't. And I think we were all surprised and devastated and crushed. And at the same time, on very high volume, kindness of people coming in with so much love. And these experiences and the exposure to truly the best of people. And through all of that, God on high volume coming in, proving himself and his love in ways that I could get choked up talking about. And I wouldn't know those ways that he rescues and carries and loves us without the pain.
Well, your responses are intriguing to me. You've been busy. You've written books. You've set up the Taya and Chris Kyle Family Service Marriage Strong organization.
Yes.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, and that was a board decision, not a Taya decision, but it works. It works.
We work with people.
Yes.
But how'd you map all this out and get so many people involved while you're in the midst of raising your young children and tragedies bubbling all around? That's an amazing story.
It is. I think one of the things that I know for certain, one of my coping mechanisms was get busy, stay busy. Somebody can take Chris's body, but they can't take his spirit. And I had this fire to just go. And it was nice because I couldn't outrun the pain, but I could get myself really busy and cry and grieve while I'm doing these things. But it could just try to distract me enough that it was, you know, like you're drowning and you're just still like, but I can see the horizon and I can see this and I can grab this. You know, that's kind of what that was like for me. And it's only been recently where I recognized that there's also time for a slowdown. And by the grace of God, again, I don't say that lightly, He infused healing even in the busyness. And so I think I'm very blessed and fortunate that we were able to fit all of that in, and I also recognize that there was a cost. And I think, my daughter's, it would have been better for her grieving if there was more of a slowdown instead of all the busyness. My son was able to navigate in his coping mechanism, which we don't shop for them, right? We just sort of innately have them, was busyness too. So he was able to navigate, learn, pick up, tips and ways to do things. So it worked for him too, but for her, I wish it had been different.
Well, healing and recovery comes to all of us in different ways, in different paces. As much as I want to be in control, we don't control that.
Yeah.
But you're also in the business of helping military families.
Yeah.
And beyond that, you provide support for first responders, police, firefighters, EMTs. You've got partners in all this. Gary Sinise, I know, works with you. Do you know how many people you've already helped with all this? It's fascinating.
It is. It's been thousands, and we've been really blessed. So my passion is a long-term, life-saving, life-changing solution. So when we have a couple come into our foundation, we stay with them for 2 years.
Wow.
So it's 2 years of coaching them from a strengths perspective, which is huge for people who are service-minded. We're not going to say, come in and let's talk about your problems. We're like, come in, let's do an assessment of your strengths. Now let's figure out how you can use those in your marriage. And it has been the most rewarding and challenging work, but we partner with Baylor University, who studies all of it. And I feel blessed and honored to be able to witness so many people showing up to pour into their marriage and save their marriage and their family.
Had you and Chris talked about doing something like this?
So one of the things that he wanted to do, I think, to make it very clear that American Sniper, the book and the movie, were not about him, was to give any proceeds away. And we were on the way to do that. It's a little bit different. We learned a lot about tax law and ways that you can give. But the way he originally intended it, he realized before he died wasn't going to work. And so he said, Taya, we need to find a way to help more families. And so we started brainstorming, but then he was killed just a little over a month after we had that conversation. And I thought, by the grace of God again, we ended on a high note when most people were divorced or barely surviving. He hadn't been out of the military very long, and we had weathered that storm of transition. And so I thought, okay, God, I would love to give back to marriages because you gave us this opportunity to end on a high note. I want that for others. And I had 3 reasons why I couldn't do it that year, the year he died, but I would get on it, the next year. And then God quickly removed 1, 2, 3 reasons why I couldn't. And I was like, oh my gosh, right now. So in 2014, we started down the road, and we've been able to build and change and morph and adapt and overcome. And today I feel like we're in a solid place flying with the organization.
Well, it's a remarkable story of resiliency and overcoming.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to hear more. We have another segment ahead, and we'd like to bring your son Colton in for that.
Yes, I am so excited for people to meet him too.
Well, please, you stay right where you are, and we'll be right back. I'd like to extend a personal invitation to join us for our Culture and Christianity Conference. It's September the 19th and 20th on our campus here at World Outreach Church, just outside of Nashville. We've chosen 3 specific topics to explore with a wonderful group of guests. We're going to talk about the church and our expected impact in this culture, the media and their impact in our culture, and then finally, our health, how we can be healthy in the midst of all these competing voices we're hearing. The real goal is how we take our faith and integrate it in our world so we have better lives, stronger families, and strengthen our nation. Join us for Culture and Christianity here in Murfreesboro. We're back with Taya Kyle, and now with her son Colton as well. Welcome to Nashville, Colton.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
You've also had your first several speaking engagements, I understand. Who have you been speaking to, and how's it going?
A number of organizations, and I'm honored that they even want to have me speak and hear my voice. But they've gone very well. I've spoken to the Bay Area firefighters for Club Beyond, which is a military teen extension of Young Life Ministries, and some more, even more recently, that I'm passionate about speaking. I'm young, I'm inexperienced, but I'm passionate about speaking and sharing and teaching what I know. And I have have a lot of experiences in life lived that I think would be valuable for a lot of people.
Well, God has a habit of recruiting young people and giving them some pretty significant assignments. So
Agreed.
you're young, but it's not an insignificant role that the Lord's put before you. You were only 8 years old when you lost your dad, but you were old enough to have some wonderful memories of your time with him. Can you share a bit of what he taught you and what you're sharing with others now?
Yes, absolutely. So one of my hallmark memories of being with him is actually the result of something that he did with me. So grief and strong emotions affect our memory strongly, and I wish I remembered more, and I'm also satisfied with what I do remember. But one of those things being, he taught me at a very young age how to rear naked choke someone from the back. And yep. And so he taught me, expanding on that grit and resilience, and also there's a time to use it, there's a time not to, which I quickly learned, and how to be fun-loving at the same time, and don't take yourself or others, for that matter, too seriously.
That's fun. Well, you and your sister McKenna experienced a lot of difficult things during your foundational years. How's that shaped your faith today?
It's been integral, absolutely paramount, and it's a blessing. I'm glad that God has trusted our family with these experiences to be able to be overcomers, to be given this mission to help other people in the way that we have been anointed, I would say. So it's a blessing, and I don't think you can truly get stronger and be able to show the grit and the resilience experientially that you might have through head knowledge. I don't think you can show that experientially without being tried and tested, and we're blessed to know a God that knows how things are going to pan out and what's inside of us, and honored that he chose us for that.
Well, I like the words you used, overcomer. Your dad was clearly an overcomer. And as we've got to know one another a bit, your stories are fascinating to me. Your courage, you could have, I suppose, sat down and been angry or hurt, but you have charted pathways forward. How did you fuel that? How did you decide not to sit down and cry and feel sorry for yourselves, but to get up and be overcomers?
It's a great question.
Yeah, it is. I think we had to learn to make space for both, because I think our instinct, I speak for Colton too, our instinct is to roll up your sleeves, get in there and just get it done and make it happen. And we've both had to learn how to get really comfortable with also crying, feeling, raging. I feel like, and Colton, you can speak to this, but watching my son, who's so strong, bodybuilding, does all the stuff, and then just talk about something difficult and have tears, come down his cheeks and not have to say, I'm sorry, I'm crying. It's like, this is the truth of who I am right now, and this is the truth of what's happening right now.
Doesn't diminish your strength.
Thank you, yes. And I've really loved that we've learned that life is both. You can speak to it more, Colton, but that's what
Yeah, absolutely. Something that you've even taught me is the power of holding in two hands the same situation from different perspectives, and feeling very angry and recognize the injustice of a situation, and at the same time appreciate what that's doing for us. And so I want to talk a lot about the exciting side of things and what that means for our family, what that means for other people. And I do recognize at the same time the injustice, and I do have sadness and anger at people and situations. And the good thing is that I can go to the God who understands that personally.
There's some real wisdom there. That dynamic tension between what's happened to me is awful, it's not fair, and I hate it, and I'm going to go forward and love the Lord.
Absolutely.
That dynamic tension gives us a pathway forward. Well, I don't want to run out of time. I want you to tell us a bit about your online shop at americansniper.com and the Navy SEAL logo that you're using. There's a story there.
Yeah, thank you. So it is important to me to note that I'm not trying to use a Navy SEAL logo. I know that that's very sacred and very important, so I don't want to be sacrilegious in that sense. But I'm building a brand around my father's story and his legacy, built on 5 core pillars: godliness, patriotism, passion, service, and excellence. Those are values that we share, and values that I'm excited to expand on the legacy with, build a community of people, and provide them, starting with apparel and soon to be many other products. I have a collaboration with Wiley X, but showcasing a godly patriotism that we are willing to fight for through and through, and then showcasing the warrior ethos and what that looks like when applied to your faith and your life, and how that's very necessary at times, and how you can show virtue through being capable of violence and then not using it when it's not necessary.
Did you bring a cap with you?
I did. This is a gift for you.
Uh-oh.
That I hope you'll wear and break in well.
And what's the website again where they can find your apparel and your gear?
AmericanSniper.com.
AmericanSniper.com.
Yes, sir.
And Taya, you're busy too. You've written several best-selling books, and now you've published your first children's book.
Yes, I'm so excited about it. And actually, Colton mentioned the power of and. This book is about gratitude and not negating that this sweet bear, Bailey, has a lot to be grateful for, and every night prays gratitude, but then what happens on the one day that there isn't so much to be grateful for? And Bailey's parents teach Bailey to pray for things like gratitude, the roof over my head, the food to eat, little bare hands and little bare feet, which is so perfect for kids, right? We still have things that people all over the world are wishing for and don't have, so.
Well, some of my team was reading it, and they were all commenting. They loved it. So
Oh, that's awesome. Good.
where do we find this?
I think on Amazon's probably the easiest way. Barnes & Noble, but these days Amazon works.
Well, I want to thank you both. It's been wonderful to have you here. And the foundation website is tacf.org.
Yes.
It's easy to remember because those are the initials for Taya and Kyle.
Yes.
Foundation.org.
Perfect, thank you.
Look at me. Next time, bring your sister too.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get another chair, I promise. We'll make
Okay.
room for everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll look
you.
forward to it. Well, I'll be back in a moment with some thoughts of my own. Hey, I want to give you a personal invitation to join my podcast, Culture and Christianity.
For a person to think that the Bible is not political, you don't know the Bible.
We're trying to understand how to take our faith outside the walls of the church and live it out in the marketplace.
He will show you what to do, whether it's in our communities, in our country, or other places in the world.
So I brought in some friends, some people that are trying to do this.
How could anyone call themselves Christian and be pro-choice? Is beyond my comprehension.
But I think he wanted them open and in need of him every day.
We have been living through a season of unprecedented deception, propaganda, manipulation.
Everybody says, oh, Israel is attacking schools in the Gaza Strip.
I want to be a part of seeing culture and Christianity intersect. Hope you enjoy the podcast. Taya and Colton's story is an inspiration to us all. You know, in the midst of heartbreaking tragedy, with the help of God and His promises found in Scripture, they were able to work through their grief and arrive at a place where they can honor the legacy of their husband and father through their ongoing efforts to help military families. Their testimony is the testimony of an overcomer. Now, you may be watching and you may be thinking that if Jesus loved me, I wouldn't have a tragedy, or my heart wouldn't be broken, or my family wouldn't be rearranged. If God loves us, how can these things happen? But the Bible doesn't tell us that we get a journey free of conflict or opposition. Rather than blame God for all the challenges, we have to acknowledge that evil exists and that Jesus gave us His peace. One of my favorite verses in all of Scripture is John 14:27. Jesus was speaking. He said, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I don't give to you as the world gives. Don't let your hearts be troubled, and don't be afraid." When Jesus said this, He wasn't leading a life that was tranquil or quiet. In fact, most of the places Jesus went to, there was turmoil. He was rejected frequently. Ultimately, He was tortured to death. Yet Jesus viewed peace as a state of security. In the midst of conflict, you never find Him anxious. He had a calm assurance of God's abiding presence, and He gave it to us. In this world, we live in an arena where both good and evil are in play. And when we encounter tragedy or disappointment, the temptation oftentimes is just to give up. But the fact is, we can't stop. We must persevere because as Christ followers, we still have an assignment to be salt and light in the darkness of this world. So I want to establish a new baseline for you. I believe we can lead lives that are defined by a sense of security, no matter how difficult the circumstances. Let's meditate on the promises that God has extended to us in His Word so we might live as overcomers, triumphing over every expression of evil. We can have peace through His strength, and that is a real reason for hope. We'll be right back. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us today. Just a reminder that if you ever miss an episode or if there's one you like and you want to share it with a friend, there's a complete archive of the programs at ajnow.com. You can watch a show again or share it with somebody that you want to share a message with. I'm often asked about more content. What do I do other than AJ Now? Well, one of the things we do is a podcast called Culture and Christianity. In fact, I did a longer version of this conversation with Taya Kyle, talking a bit more about her story and how she and her family overcame the tragic loss of a husband and a father. You can find that. It's Culture and Christianity wherever you go get your podcast or on YouTube. We've got wonderful technology. It makes it easy to share good news, and today was good news. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. I'm Alan Jackson, and you have a wonderful evening.